Today I have a special guest who's originally from Japan, Miss Emiri Toda. She's presently studying English in Vancouver, Canada. In today's podcast, we'll talk to Emiri about her reasons why she wanted to study in Canada and what are some of the challenges and experiences that she's had. So without further ado, hi Emiri, welcome to the Man in Japan podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. So let's start by just asking a few general questions to give the viewers and audience some background about yourself. So first, where in Japan are you from?
I'm from Nara. Nara is located next to Osaka.
Nara, okay. And your university?
Yes.
What university did you go to? Or are you attending?
Yeah, I attended Kansai Gaida University. It's a language university, but actually I quit my university last year. When I was 20 years old, I went to the university for 2 years, but I couldn't find it interesting. So I quit my university and then I came here.
Kansai Gaida is well known in Japan for having a good language program. But for you, it wasn't stimulating enough or not interesting enough for you. Were the classes boring, or was it the teaching style not interesting, or what was your opinion or impression?
Yeah, this is my opinion, so it's not for everyone. But
of course.
Classes were not good for me because there are no speaking test, no speaking class, no pronunciation class, so I couldn't take good classes. So I just learned writing and grammar.
I'm very surprised because, my image of Kansai Gaida, before when I used to work at the university as the International Center Director in Osaka, Kansai Gaida was kind of like the king, of study abroad program, inbound and outbound, right? But you're telling me something very interesting. So the classes are basically just reading and writing. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I wanted to become a fluent English speaker. Right. So I realized, if I continued the university, I couldn't become fluent, so I quit. This is my opinion.
During those first 2 years, there were no conversation classes or no opportunities to practice communicative English?
I had some presentation sometimes, but teachers didn't fix my pronunciation, so I didn't know how to speak English. I had only 10 to 15 English classes, and the other classes were business, hospitality, marketing, like that. Yeah.
How did you decide to go to Vancouver, Canada to study, and why Canada?
My major was American English, so I studied for maybe 2 years American English. I wanted to go to the US first, but I heard the US is so expensive, so I changed to Canada. And then I heard Vancouver has so many people from many countries, so that's why I came here.
Is the exchange rate, I don't know the Canada to yen rate, is it still okay, or is it still quite big gap?
It's quite, very expensive.
Oh, it's still expensive, but not as expensive as the United States.
Yeah, I think so.
When did you arrive in Canada? You're in Vancouver right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver right now.
You go to an English school, is that correct? An English conversation school?
Yeah.
How is the classes and how is the teaching style to you now?
It's very different compared to my university. They fix my pronunciation. I think my English skill grow up right now, but still my English is not good. Teachers give me many good classes, so I'm glad to find my English school.
So you're happy where you are right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
And you feel that your English is improving a lot?
Yes, that's better.
Who are your classmates? Like, I know in Japan, if you were studying English in Japan, they'd be all Japanese. So of course, the moment you step out of your class, or even in the class, you're probably speaking Japanese at Kansai Gaida, or you were speaking Japanese, correct? But now, who are your classmates?
Mostly Korean students.
Oh, Korean students?
There are many students from Korea, but also Japanese students are many.
So, do you speak a lot of English within the class? Or do you speak Japanese to the Japanese students, or how does that work? So, for example, I always, when I used to be the International Center Director of the International Center at the University in Osaka, I would always advise the students who are going on study abroad, like you, try not to speak Japanese to the Japanese students, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not helping. You need to make other friends, and you need to make opportunities. So how has the Canada experience? Are you still speaking Japanese to Japanese, or are you trying to meet other friends, or are you speaking to the Koreans in English, or how is your everyday life in classes?
Yeah, I try to make friends from other countries. So I think speaking Japanese is not good for my English. And also in my school, if I speak Japanese, I cannot get certificate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very strict rule.
So what do they give, like a yellow card or a red card, or how do they warn you?
Yeah.
So tell me how it works. Let's say you speak Japanese, and then the teacher sees you.
Yeah.
And then what? They say, okay, Emiri, that's one, give you a yellow card, that's one warning.
Yes.
And then if you get 3, then you don't get certification.
Yes.
Have you ever been given a yellow card?
No, nothing.
Not yet. So when you see your Japanese friends, you try to speak English to them.
When I'm in school, I can speak, but sometimes I hang out with my Japanese friends. I know this is not good, but I speak Japanese.
Okay, don't worry. That's very normal. Only Japanese together, it's really hard. Or even if it was like Americans, when I was studying Japanese, all the Americans together, we were speaking Japanese to try and improve, but sometimes we were speaking strange Japanese and we're learning worse Japanese. And what you're doing is good, I think. In the school, of course, you follow the rules, you speak English only. But outside, if you're only with Japanese, then of course, then you're going to speak Japanese. It's just natural. It would be too cumbersome or too mendokusai, troublesome to speak English, when you're with your friends and having a good time, right? So what you're doing is normal. Now, do you always stay with Japanese people outside of the class, outside of the school?
No.
Who do you hang out with?
I made some friends using language exchange apps. And I have a boyfriend who is Canadian person.
Really?
So so I can hang out with him. So it's very good for my English.
Your boyfriend is Canadian, and he does he speak Japanese?
No, he doesn't speak Japanese, but he's learning Japanese, but still not good. So sometimes I can teach him.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But what you want to find a boyfriend who doesn't speak Japanese. That's perfect for your English study.
Yeah.
And so in that way, you're very fortunate, although sometimes maybe it's difficult to explain everything you want to say because, some nuance.
Yeah.
But yet, for your English improvement, you're doing the perfect way. I did the same when I was young. When I was in Japan, I got a Japanese girlfriend, right? Then that helped my Japanese because you're motivated, right? You have a purpose. You're motivated. Okay, the two things in life you need are purpose and passion. If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend it doesn't speak the language, your language, hometown language, like English or Japanese, and you have to speak their language, the country that you're in, that forces you, and you are motivated to want to study harder and learn as fast as you can, correct?
Yes, I agree. I tried to talk to him, so I forced to study English more. That's very good for my English. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got the secret weapon. That's the secret weapon, Emiri.
Yes.
You use whatever motivates you. Some people, it's, they want to go to graduate school. Some people, they want to get a job. For me, it was like love or finding a boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm not sure what it is for you, but, you have a boyfriend. So perfect. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
So are you doing a homestay, or are you living in an apartment or dormitory, or what is your living situation in Vancouver?
I lived in homestay first, but I moved to shared house right now.
Okay. How long did you live in a homestay?
Just 2 months.
And how was that experience?
They were very nice. They were from Philippines, and then I ate many Filipino food every day.
Oh, wow.
But I felt uncomfortable because I'm not good at talking. So that's why I moved to shared house.
And who lives in a shared house? Is it like other students studying, or is it Canadians, or is it a mix? What's the makeup?
I had one roommate. She's from Japan, and then more than 10 Filipino people in my house.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's so fun. Excited.
So, of course, they speak English well, the Filipinos.
Yes.
and so you communicate with English with them. When the Filipinos speak among themselves, do they speak Tagalog or one of the Filipino languages, or do they speak English?
They speak Tagalog.
At the shared house, you said that you have a Japanese roommate, and there's 10 Filipino people who share the house also, correct?
No, that's homestay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The homestay had 10
yeah,
Filipinos
my host family was
10.
Yes.
Okay, and the shared house is only 2 people?
2 Japanese people.
Where are the other people in the house? Where are they from?
They're from Japan, but I don't really talk to them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the shared house has how many people total?
3, including me.
Okay, and all Japanese.
Yeah. Yes.
I see. So it goes back to what we were talking about. I'm sure you speak Japanese when you're in the shared house, correct?
Yeah.
So fortunately, you have a boyfriend, and outside you have a lot of opportunity to speak English, correct?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have that, then it would be really tough to improve your English, because you would be at home lots with your friends, hanging out, and probably speaking Japanese in the shared house.
Yeah, but I don't talk to them every day because they always go out, so I don't meet them. Yeah.
There's not much interaction between you and the other 2 Japanese in the shared house. Okay.
No, I feel like I'm living alone.
Now it's 10 months. How long are you planning to remain in Canada studying?
I have still 2 months to go to school.
Oh, so is it a 1-year program?
So my graduation is August. Then after that, I'm gonna get a working holiday visa.
Can you get it while you're in Canada, or do you have to go back to Japan to get it?
I have to go back to Japan once, and then I can get. Yeah.
How quickly can you get a working holiday visa for Canada? I heard before that it takes some time, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can explain.
Oh, that's so fast. Like 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks?
Yeah, very, very fast. Yeah.
And then you're planning to, of course, come back to Canada,
Yeah.
Vancouver. Are you going to be traveling? Are you going to be looking for work? What are you going to do on the working holiday visa?
It's hard to get a job here, but I want to work in hotel or as a massager.
A masseuse, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you have the training or license for a masseuse?
No, I saw a website that is looking for new massager. Massager? What do you call it?
It's a French word. Yeah. Massage person is a masseuse. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a little bit difficult. Even for me as an English native speaker, it's like strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, masseuse. Okay. If you go back on a working holiday visa, now a lot of the people who watch my videos are American, so maybe they don't understand the working holiday visa status. It's not offered for the United States. It's only offered to, I think it's the Commonwealth, right? I mean, it's like Canada, New Zealand, I think Australia, UK. Is that right? For Japanese.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's what, is it a 3-month or a 6-month visa?
No, it's 1 year.
And you can work or travel, and there's no restrictions as far as work. Is that correct?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways for Japanese to go on an adventure, or even to work on studying. I always used to tell my students, I highly recommend that if they have the time to do what you're doing. Most Japanese cannot do it because they're in school, and then they have to go through the work job recruitment system, job hunting, and they all have to go into the company right away. So they never have a break. And that's the problem, is there's this great opportunity for a lot of Japanese students to have an experience abroad. And whether it's working or traveling or just living, if you have the money, you can just travel and live. Many of the Japanese are not able to, or are too afraid to take the risk and do this. So what you're doing is really adventurous, and I applaud you. That's great, because I think it's really good for you, for your future, to have these experiences. After 1 year, is it renewable, or is that then you have to go back to Japan?
If I work hard, maybe I can get work permit. I can get 1 more year visa.
So if you get a good job and the company likes you and you want to stay, it might be possible to get a work permit for 1 year issued by that company.
Yeah, it's possible.
You're kind of in your young adventure part of your life now. Of course, you're studying English now. You're going to graduate, and you'll come back to Canada, return to Canada, and then you're going to try and find a job and for this next 1 year you're gonna be on a work holiday visa, which, as I tell most of the students, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful opportunity that most Japanese never get to use, and it's only until 30 years old. Is that correct? You have until 30. Was that it?
Yes.
Okay, so there is an age limit. Do you know how many times you can apply for it? So let's say you go to Canada this time, and then next year you want to go to Australia or UK. Can you do that, or are you limited to how many times you can use a working holiday visa?
In Canada, I can apply just once.
Okay.
But yeah, if I go to other countries, I can get another working holiday visa.
Oh, really? Wow. So
Yeah.
so someone who is under 30, let's say you're 25, you could go to Canada 1 year, you could go to UK another year, you could go to New Zealand, and you could do that?
Yes, I have a friend who does that.
Wow, that's amazing. What an opportunity. That's amazing. I didn't know that. That is great. So I'm sure your parents are a little bit worried about you. What do your parents think?
When I said I wanted to quit my university, my mom agreed with me because my mom also thought my university was not good. And then my dad as well, yeah.
So what did you tell them? That the classes weren't interesting and you weren't learning, that you wanted to really learn English, so you wanted to go abroad?
They agreed.
Wow, your parents are very open-minded, because not too many parents, I think, would say, you're young, you're female, your daughter. Not too many would say, okay, quit the university and go abroad. You have very understanding and very supportive parents.
Yeah, I'm so lucky.
Now, what do your parents think? Did you tell them that you want to come back on a working holiday visa?
Yes.
And what did they say?
They still agree with me, but they only say they don't want to give me money anymore.
Right. I mean, but it makes sense, right, Emiri?
Yeah.
They support you this year in the university. I mean, studying this 1 year, and then now, if you want to stay longer, then it's kind of up to you, and you have to make your own way.
Yes, they used much money for me, so
I'm sure it's expensive.
I have to make my money for myself. I don't know why I have confidence to get a job here. Yeah.
You have confidence and you have love. Those two things.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. Very powerful. So now, when you look back at you started studying English in junior high school, and at Kansai Gaidai 2 years. So 8 years, right? 8 years total.
Yes.
What is your honest opinion of the Japanese English teaching system?
When it comes to English class, I think Japanese education is not good for teaching English, because Japanese people teach English to Japanese students. They don't really know how to pronounce English. I think their grammar skills are almost perfect, but they cannot speak English.
So if you could tell the Ministry of Education what they need to do to change this system, what would be your suggestions?
They need to change English classes to more like speaking class. Now, their classes are like for just grammar and writing. It's not fun. It's very, quiet. Sounds boring. So many students don't have motivated. So they needed to speak more, and then they would be able to speak fluently, I think.
So you think that they should teach in a more interactive and communicative style?
I needed to be quiet in English class, but here we needed to talk a lot. We needed to appeal by myself. I think that's very good for speaking English, becoming fluent.
Tell me about your English classes now. That's one example, like you have to talk more. What's the difference, like the atmosphere, the fuinki, the atmosphere of the English class in Canada and the English class at Kansai Gaidai or in high school? What's the difference?
Kansai Gaidai classes were very quiet. Teachers didn't ask us to speak more, but here teachers want us to speak more. When I was in Japan, when I was in university, I didn't have motivation. I don't know why. Maybe I think it because of teachers. Teachers' classes were not fun for me. because they focus on only grammar and writing. So that's why I felt boring.
And I'm sure your Japanese teachers are going to say the reason they have to teach like that is because for the test, right? That they need to test you.
Yeah.
And with reading and writing, you can test a student. But with speaking, it's very difficult to gauge. It's not impossible. It's possible, I know, but it's hard. And many of the English teachers in Japan who are Japanese don't speak English very well, so they're not able to actually grade or judge a student on their speaking ability. That's another reason why they focus on the reading and writing. It's easy to give a mark or score, and as you said, I think some of the Japanese have the best grammar. Those Japanese teachers know their grammar very, very well. It's just that they're not able to take it and apply it into a more communicative or interactive way, so students will find it more as a tool, not as a academic subject. I think that's the problem. In Japan, English teaching is not a language or something to be used like in Europe or other places where they need it, that people learn because they have to use it in business or because that's the language that they're going to communicate with other countries. But in Japan, it's more like an academic subject, just like mathematics or science. And so then there's no focus on how are we going to use this English. It's just like for the test, get into a better high school, get into a better university, and then you go into the workforce. And even when you work, what are the chances if you work in Japan that you will actually be able to use your English? Like maybe some people work for a trading company or maybe a foreign company, but I'm guessing, but I would say maybe 2% at the most, maybe even 1% of the people who speak some English, when they go into a job in Japan, that they can actually use their English is so few. So a lot of the Japanese students are thinking like, why bother? Why do I need English, right? What do you think?
Yeah, in Japan, people don't need to speak English, so they don't really need to become fluent English speakers. It depends on what do you want to do in future. I think grammar is very important. So that's why my grammar is almost perfect right now. But I want to speak with many people from other countries. So that's why I need speaking classes. Yeah, it depends on the person.
So Emiri, in your future, what are your plans? Like what are your dreams or your goals? Like, I am assuming English is part of this, but tell me about just what are your dreams? What are you thinking?
My dream, it's not clear, but my dream is traveling many countries, and then taking my parents to lots of trip, because my parents used much money for me, so I really appreciate them. So I want to give them something big. Yeah, that's my dream.
So you're gonna have to make a lot of money to be able to take them on these trips.
Yeah.
Or maybe you become a flight attendant and you have special benefits that you can go you can travel and then they can go maybe more cheaply to different places. I don't know. I was just thinking. How much longer do you think you need to be in Canada to get your English to a level that you are satisfied?
I've been here for 10 months, but still my English is not good. So I think 3 years more.
Yeah, I think that's a good number. 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I mean, look at me. I've been in Japan about 30 years and my Japanese is still not good. So don't worry. You're doing really well. There's another area that I always think is important about study abroad, and that's what I call soft skills. Soft skills are like being assertive. Do you know assertive? Sekkyaku or being good at small talk, making conversation, or being a more independent thinker, or being a risk taker. Those are a lot of what I call soft skills. I wrote a book about this, about why study abroad was so important. Do you feel that in Canada you are, besides English, that you are learning other types of skills that are helping you for the future?
Yes, I'm not good at talking a lot, so sometimes I feel uncomfortable. Like sometimes I had the opportunity that I had to speak with my boyfriend's family. So I tried to speak a lot, but yeah, they have many small talks, but
Right.
yeah, I don't have cultures like I need to speak small talk, so it's very difficult for me.
For most Japanese, it's very difficult. And like that
Yes.
situation where you're with your boyfriend's, is your boyfriend's family originally from Canada, or are they from another country and they immigrated to Canada?
No, his dad is from Canada, and then his mom is from Philippines.
I see. Okay. So he's half
Yeah.
Filipino, half Caucasian.
Canadian. Yeah.
Okay, Canadian, yeah. Okay. So if you are speaking to your boyfriend's parents, that's a really important time to speak well, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on you, but that's actually good for you because it forces you to be motivated, and you have to, right? But as you
Yeah.
said, small talk is a big problem for many Japanese. And you know, when I go to big conferences, international conferences, the Japanese in a big, like we have parties or dinners, cocktail parties, that you go into a room of 1,000 people that are attending, and you just gotta start a conversation. And the Japanese, almost all of them, really struggle because
Yeah.
they don't have that ability to do small
Yes.
talk, because Japan is not a small talk country. That's not part of the culture, correct?
Also, we are very shy, so it's
Right.
difficult to talk. Yeah.
Okay, then let me ask you, why are Japanese shy?
It's kind of culture, but I think it's because of Japanese school. As I said earlier, I had to be quiet in classes in my school, so that's why they didn't need to speak a lot.
I have one thing that I always think is probably the most important about study abroad or being educated outside of Japan. It's the idea of critical thinking. What I mean when I say critical thinking, it's like you have a problem and someone's able to look at the problem, think quickly, make a decision, and solve the problem. Or sometimes take a risk and solve the problem. Or someone who's like always looking at the why.
Yeah.
You know, for example, education system in Japan is basically what? You just study, and you just put it on the test. It's the what. But a lot of the way that in Western cultures they teach is they want you to know the why, or they want the students to ask the why. In Japan, my students never used to ask why.
Oh, yes, I understand, because when I talked to my boyfriend, he always asked me, why? What do you think?
yeah,
Why do you think so? But I don't have my opinion, so I couldn't answer.
Japanese don't have an opinion, most of them. And
Yes.
sometimes I wonder, maybe they have it in their honne or the inside, but they don't want to share because they're embarrassed or it's not polite, or they don't have an opinion. I don't know. But my Japanese students and even friends, most of them don't have a strong opinion either way.
Yes.
And I think that also goes to Emiri, to independent thinking. Be an independent thinker. That you know you don't have to follow everybody. You can say no, I don't think so, and disagreeing maybe, and maybe saying the opposite. You know, in Japan, lots of times everybody wants to get along, which is a good concept too, to get along. You don't have people say no, I don't think that's a good idea, or no, I don't want to do that. You know, people are usually very good about getting along, which is a good concept also. But on the opposite side, Westerners are much more about the why, and they're independent thinkers, so they'll say, oh, I don't want to go because this, or it's different, that part. Okay, Emily, I'm gonna close this slowly. I want to ask you a couple more questions. What do you miss about Japan when you're in Canada?
Food.
Okay.
And ofuro.
Okay, food and ofuro. Okay, just like my friend Masaki, who did another interview with me. Food. Vancouver has Japanese food, but the Japanese food that is served in Vancouver is still not as good as Japan, correct? No.
Correct.
Okay. Tell me about the rice. I'm very picky about the Japanese rice, that it's so good.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Vancouver rice compared to Japan rice?
I'm also very picky about rice, but I can get Japanese rice in Asian grocery store here. So it's okay, but still it's not good.
It's not the same, right? And also, you don't have the
It's
rice
not the
cooker like in
same.
Japan. Yeah, you don't have the fancy rice cooker like in Japan, right? The suihanki. So it makes a difference, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then every time I go to restaurants, I cannot eat rice because it's not good.
Oh, you are just like me. You know, my friends in Hawaii, they call me a rice snob. I'm not a rice snob, but Japan rice is so high level that I have been spoiled that I cannot go back down. So just like you, even in Hawaii, I never eat rice if possible. You know, I mean, even in Hawaii, got some good Japanese restaurants, and everybody says, "Oh, Japanese food so good, so good." It's not even close to Japan, and the rice level is not. Even like I went to restaurant Suntory with my auntie, always takes me because she does the ikebana for the restaurant, and there's rice there, and I eat the rice, and I go, Samishine, like, oh, how sad, because even restaurant Suntory, it's an expensive restaurant. The rice level is low. And so, okay, I'm happy. There is somebody else like me. It's not that I'm trying to be prejudiced or biased, but it's just the honest truth. Japanese rice is that high level, right? Thank you for sharing that with me. What do you find in Canada, when you're in Canada, what do you find that you like about Canada that Japan does not have?
My favorite place is beach. It's very different to compare to Japanese beach.
Explain.
I can see beautiful sunset, and it's very wide. What do you say? Big.
Yeah.
Like beach is very big.
Big, yeah.
And then so big, and then I feel so comfortable.
Really?
I don't know how to explain, but many people are chilling on the beach. I like watching them. When you go to beach, you just like swim in the ocean, but here they are just chilling on the beach.
Chilling out, relaxing,
yeah,
hanging out.
Yes, yeah, relaxing. I don't know why I like that. I think it's culture.
So you think maybe Japanese, when they go to the beach, they don't have much time and their mission is jump in the water and swim.
Yeah.
Where in Canada, it's more of a relaxing hangout place. You don't have to swim.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's too cold, right? The water is too cold. But people just enjoy being at the coastline, the beach, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you find? For example, if we were to compare Japan and Canada, the good things, the bad things, are there anything like you say, okay, in Japan, you miss the food, you miss the ofuro. For example, crime. I would say Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. Do you find it a little bit more dangerous, or you have to be more careful in Canada? Or like, are there any other things that you find Japan is really nice, but Canada not? Or Canada does really well, but Japan does not do well. Any differences or comparisons you have?
It depends on where I live, but I think Canada is not that peaceful as Japan, because there is so many homeless people and then many druggy people.
Right,
so yeah, it's sometimes very dangerous, and I cannot walk alone nighttime. But it's just only downtown, like specific part.
You have to be careful. Like in Japan, you could walk alone, of course, anywhere, right? Even Osaka or Tokyo.
Yes,
women can walk, late at night alone. But in Canada, you cannot walk alone.
Yeah, downtown is very difficult.
Okay. So in that case, Japan, that's safety is very important. Anything else between the two countries that you find really, one country does really well, or you wish you had this in Japan, or you wish you had this in Canada, besides the furo and the food? Is there anything that you miss, or that you notice that you go, oh, too bad Canada doesn't have this, or too bad Japan doesn't have this?
I feel like time is longer when I'm here, because sun goes down at 10 p.m. I really like that. Yeah, time is very long.
But Emily, in the winter, you have much less light, right? In the winter.
But it's same as Japan.
Like really?
6 p.m. Yeah, or 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, it's same.
Okay, so you seem to have more time because you're north, you have more light. Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, and also people are very friendly. Every time I use elevators, people say hi to me. I like that.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, in Japan, everybody looks down, right? Or they look up, down or up, right? Okay.
Yes.
If someone a Japanese young person was watching this video, do you have any advice for any Japanese person about study abroad in Canada or another country? Do you have any suggestions for them? Should they do this? Should they not do this? Or what should they do?
Yeah, I think studying in Canada is very good for your English, but you need to try to use something different, like I used language exchange apps to practice English. So maybe just going to school is not good. You need to try to effort more.
So what you're saying is that you need to, outside of just studying, you have to try and find different opportunities for you to speak English or to learn English. That school alone is not the answer. Whether it's friends or girlfriend or boyfriend, or just finding like a internship or, you know, volunteering or something outside of school is very important for your English progress. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm so happy to decide to come here. If you really want to become a fluent English speaker, studying here is very important.
So basically you're saying is take the risk, take the jump. If you're not sure if you want to go, make the decision to go and just go. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, Emiri, thank you very much for sharing with us about your life and your past and your experience in Canada. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested to find out, you know, what does a Japanese person who goes abroad like you and like in Canada, and you know, what do you experience and what have you learned, you know? And so today you shared with us the different things, your different thoughts and ideas, and it's been very, very helpful. So thank you very much. We wish you a lot of success and good luck with your last 2 months in Vancouver, and you know, for your graduation. We also wish you a lot of success and luck and happiness on your return back on a working holiday visa. And you know, please do well and enjoy your life. I can see you're enjoying your life. You seem to be very happy, and I hope that continues for the rest of your life. So thank you very much for being on the Man in Japan podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you for inviting me. Okay.
Sure.